Hi, this is Nathan from the photography team. I've just picked up a Samyang 12mm f2 lens for the Fuji system. I just want to do a quick little overview and sort of review of some images that I've got from that camera. Yeah, so picked it up used. Like I said, this is for the Fuji X mount. They do come in Canon M mount, Samsung NX, Sony E and Micro Four Thirds. So here's the lens mounted onto an XH1. Got a lovely metal mount, nice and sturdy. Comes with a nice petal hood. The focus ring is nice and smooth. Obviously with these sort of lenses you have the aperture ring also, which this lens is from f2 up to f22, and you also got half stops in between the major stops. It is a clicky ring, so not ideal for video. Although this is a wide angle lens, it will focus to 0.2 of a meter, so 20 centimeters. So you can actually get a depth of field with this lens, which is great. And obviously, when you're at infinity, you can have sharpness corner to corner if you stop it down a bit to say 5.6 or f8. Comes with a 67mm filter thread. Got a filter on this one just to protect the lens element, but obviously because it comes with a filter thread, you can actually use filters, which is great. So, why did I buy this lens? Well, primarily bought it for our property photography. I used to have these Fuji 10-24, which I recently got rid of. And obviously I still needed that wide angle, so I went for the Samyang. Obviously they also comes in Rokinon, which is another make. I think that's the American market. Now I've took it onto a property shoot and I've taken a few pictures with it, and my hell, it is sharp. It actually blows the 10-24 out of the water. This is really sharp. Because it is a manual focus lens, and because there is no electrics in this, you will find that it doesn't, EXIF data isn't stored on the camera. So when you look at your images on the computer, the EXIF data for the, let's say, the aperture is not going to be stored. However, your shutter speed and ISO will be, because that's that comes from the camera body. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to jump into Lightroom, and we're going to go for a few images that I took. I did bracketed images, so we'll just look at those and show you what sort of image quality you can get. Okay, so now I'm at Lightroom here. I've dragged in a few images from the shoot. The first one is a little scene here from the kitchen. I used bracketing. I did 1 1/3 stops under normal exposure, then 1 1/3 stop over. So first off, let's select these 3 images and then using the Control and H on a Mac will bring up the HDR merge preview window. So what that'll do is that'll merge those 3 images into an HDR image, and it'll obviously give me a little preview here. So as you'll see, it's given me a little preview there of the image merged together. I've got auto align set, auto settings clicked, and I've got low deghost to mount. So now what I'll do is I'll hit the merge button, and what that'll do is that'll merge them and create a DNG file. What I'll do to save some time is I'd also merge the other 3 while we're here, and then we'll just work on the DNG files. Okay, so those images are now all merged. The first set of images, while I'm editing, I'm going to be using the Loop Deck, which is a great little keyboard to use with Lightroom. Got dials, buttons, sliders, great little tool. I'll leave a link in the description where you can pick these up. Okay, so the first image here is obviously 1 1/3 stop underexposed. And obviously looking at the EXIF data here, taken on the XH1, the IBIS was turned off because I was using a tripod, and 105th of a second shutter speed and ISO 200. So that's underexposed. This one is what the camera said was correctly exposed, and then we've got the overexposed image, and then the next one is the merged DNG. So from this image, first thing we'll do is we'll just bring the exposure up. Here we go. Maybe bring the highlights down a little bit. We've got some highlights coming in the window. Might give a little bit of contrast. Okay, and let's do the white balance. So we'll click on the ceiling, which I know is white. That will give us a starting point. There we go. I think what I'll do with that one is I'll probably just cool it down a little bit. And there's a little bit of magenta in there, so we'll just bring the tint down a touch. So a little bit more exposure. Okay, so there's an image from the kitchen. Now, great thing again with Lightroom is using the transform tool. We can, I can tell the computer that that is an upright. That is an upright. I'll tell it that the counter is a level, and this part of the floor is a level. And what that'll do is I'll just correct the whole image. Let's take the counter one off and actually go by the ceiling. That should be a bit more accurate. So there we're doing. What we're doing is we're just straightening the image up in Lightroom using those correction tools. May look at maybe just cropping this one in a bit. Just bring it into the unit there. So there's an image from the kitchen, and what I'll do is I'll now zoom in at 2:1 so you can see the image quality that we're getting. So this is at 2:1. Just let it render. That is tack sharp. You can see on the image here how much I've zoomed in. So let's scroll around the image. I mean, it is fantastic. Hardly any distortion. Really happy with that lens. Really happy. Gives great image quality. So let's now just move on to the next image. It's very similar again. This was just a shot in a bathroom. Let's go to the merged image. So we haven't actually got to do much to this one again, but first off, I think I'll do the transform tool again. We'll use this part of the backsplash as an upright, and the other side we will use this part of the tap. So there, that's just straightened that up. Again with this one, we'll give it a little bit of exposure, a little bit of contrast. White balance seems fine. Just give it a little bit more of a green tint because it's magenta. If we want to, we can reduce the blacks even more to give it a bit more of a punch. So again, there's an image from the bathroom. Let's zoom in again at 2:1. Let's go on to the taps here. Let it render. Again, look how sharp that is. Look at the detail in the wood. These were all, I actually shot these at f8 is what I shot these on at this property shoot. And I mean now, you know, it was just great. Really happy with this lens. We'll do one more, which is a outdoor shot of the complex. This is winter in the UK, and you wouldn't believe it, but lovely blue skies. So here we are with this is the image that's blended again. So let's give it a little bit more exposure. We'll bring the shadows up a bit in the properties. We can bring the highlights down a little bit. Bit more exposure. Let's give it some contrast. I might warm this up just a little bit. Again, the great thing with Loupedeck is these dials. It's great. Now, with this one, I'm going to now go into the HSL tab, and the blue sky, I mean, if we want to, we can really darken that down, but it looks a bit fake, so we'll leave it where it is. Or maybe just a little bit of minus luminance in the greens, which will just darken up the small patch of grass that's here. I'm going to add some more shadows. And a little bit of clarity. Okay, and again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the transform tool, which is a great tool in Lightroom, and we'll select this side of the house as one upright, and then we'll use this corner of this house here as the next upright. So that's cropped in there. That should be enough. Let's maybe give it a little bit of a vignette just to draw their eye in a little bit. And that's what you're going to get from this lens, obviously outdoors. Again, let's have a little zoom in at 2:1. And I mean, the detail that's captured is fantastic. Now, these are all manual focused at infinity, so everything should be in focus. I mean, really nice and sharp. So that's just a quick overview of 3 images taken with that lens, and I hope you'll agree that they are beautifully sharp, and the lens has performed as I would expect. So that was my video of the 12mm Samyang lens, currently available in the UK for around £300. You can obviously get them cheaper if you were to get one shipped in from abroad, but I think for the money you pay, the image quality you get from it, it's well worth it. I'm currently filming this at f2 with the Samyang lens, so you can actually see what sort of image quality you'll get in video, wide open. That's obviously the benefit of this lens, that it does go down to f2. And I hope you'll agree that from the pictures that I've showed you from a recent property shoot, that the sharpness is really, really good. And my honest opinion, I think it's better than the Fuji 10-24. That obviously this is a prime lens, so that obviously helps with that. But yeah, to me, I'm really happy with this lens. I'm going to take it to a wedding that we've got in a few days' time, and we'll get some pictures with it, and we'll obviously show you those. So thanks for watching. My name's Nathan, and I'm from the photography team.